boy. Now, I'm really staring into this deep, dark void about what if I've been secretly recorded for... What if I've been recorded for like a year, 2 years?
Now you're being recorded by me.
That's good. How do I uninstall this software?
Uninstall the camera software?
Let me just Google them again. High definition cable. I'm just gonna look up like Cam Twist. I mean, they look like just a regular old. They seem like a normal. Let's see, developers. That was a crazy noise.
Did I make a crazy noise?
Hey, what?
I'm not doing
are
anything.
You doing something? Poor connection. Switch to
We are switched to audio only.
Okay. Oh, well, I was on video because I wanted it to give me the little pop-up. Let me just, for my own, just for me, real quick.
Go to
Cam Twist.
www.isthefbaiwatchingme.com.
Okay. A lot of people using it. That's good.
Like a Pentagon's worth of people.
Okay, wait a minute. Here. Now, I don't know how great this site is, but on the... Okay. On the alternative.me website, there is a list of good live streaming softwares, and
Okay.
CamTwist is one of them.
Are you trying to live stream?
Many others, no, I was about a year ago when I installed this software. And many others, you can stream your CamTwist produce live shows on the internet. I just really hope there's not a web page live streaming me on the internet.
Probably not.
Though. I would notice
And
that.
worst case scenario, you have not gotten famous.
Well, that's true. It's mostly me looking into my camera and working, so that'd be they could get the pirated version of the show, I guess. Okay, well that was a very, very upsetting set of thoughts. Give me like 10 seconds to recompose myself, because the intro will be much funnier now that you realize what mental state I'm in. But just I have ice cream with me, which is nice.
That is nice.
All right, you ready?
I am ready.
Hey, Zach.
Hey.
You know, last week I came to you with a lot of Kingdom Hearts energy.
Yeah.
That was some real rowdy energy.
Yeah.
But this week, I want to come to you with something different.
Ooh, this feels like the energy you're coming with is very soft, almost like an ASMR podcast.
Oh, it's not. It's deeply not. I'm coming to you with some Hilda energy.
Ooh, good.
It's just a nice show.
Should we
about a nice
explain
girl.
to the viewers what Hilda is?
Well, I should get through my very weird intro first, and then we can get there. It's a nice show about a nice girl, plays in the woods, hangs out with her friends,
Yeah.
and lives her dreams. And so I'd like to talk about it so I can quit using this voice.
Yeah.
Because it's a very uncomfortable voice. Anyway, I watched Hilda. You emailed me. The Louisville office sent me an email and said, watch this good show. I did, and it was a good show.
Yeah. So, for the viewers that don't know, there is, and just to give a little bit of background to this, as is discussed a number of times, once recorded on the show, I am deeply obsessed with Into the Spider-Verse, and I am following it in such a way where I have this like need for it to win every award it's nominated for. And at the Annies, which is an animation, like excellence in animation award show, it won every category it's nominated in, and I was very excited. But there was this other thing that won for every category it was nominated in, and it was this show called Hilda. And it is this show on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, it is at your disposal at all times. The whole first season is there. And it is this beautifully animated show about this girl with blue hair who wears a beret. And as Sam said, she's just playing in the woods and she's hanging out with her friends in Trollberg, and all of the characters are deeply charming and all of the animation is deeply enchanting. And if you haven't had a chance to check it out, this thing flew totally under my radar and I had no idea it was coming out. And I'm usually on top of things like this. And yeah, it is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I had heard about Hilda from the YouTube show Drawfee, which whenever they recommend a show or talk about a show on Drawfee, that's basically how I decide what media I take in at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like Nathan will be like, "Oh, I'm watching this show," and I'm like, "Okay, I guess I watch that show now."
Yeah.
If I have the ability to watch it. But they talked about Hilda, and I just passed it by. I don't know. Sometimes you have that feeling where it's like, is today the day I watch? Nah, I just don't think today's the day. And so I like saw it and knew it was there. I was just like, nah, I don't think today's Hilda day.
Mm-hmm.
And did that for weeks. And then you texted me. Maybe out of the blue. I honestly don't remember what the context was.
I think it was out of the blue. Because I'd like watched the first like 3 episodes and I was like, all right, stop everything.
Right.
And watch the show.
And that's what we did too. We watched the first 3 right in a row. And then watched the rest of the season after that. But,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you still there?
Yes, I am still here. Hello.
So there's a crazy noise that keeps happening. Where it like boops in my ears.
Maybe it is the FBI agent we were just talking about. Hello, Agent Stevenson. Or it is like a ghost in my house or in my office trying to get to me.
Here's what I got. Here's what I'm thinking. I have 2 notifications from Skype. Mm-hmm. We will get back to Hilda, don't worry. I have 2 notifications from Skype. I didn't notice them earlier. Oh, but one was 12 minutes ago and one looks like it just happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe one was 13 minutes. Well, no, they were both 13 minutes ago when I did open the program. So I don't know. What we were talking about previous to this was that like a year ago I tried to set up some software on my computer to like I wasn't
this is a bonus feature for those that aren't on the Patreon. We actually have a sideshow to this show, which is 2 grown men figure out the internet.
Yeah. And usually this is me walking you through your labyrinth
but
of a broken computer.
I am officially not on the receiving end of this hate anymore, which is great.
I know. I flew too close to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
I was working at a place at a time, and they were doing some like live streaming stuff, and I was kind of helping with the technical side of it. And so I downloaded CamTwist, which is a program, and I can't remember why I did this, but I downloaded it on my computer first, or I downloaded my computer eventually to try to like test it out on my end. Maybe I tried it on their computer and it didn't work. I don't know what the situation was. Anyway, the project concluded. Didn't need the software anymore. At the time, my girlfriend and I were long distance, and so we would Skype each other, and I started noticing that there were like issues where like my camera wouldn't work. It would just show the CamTwist logo, which is like a very upsetting logo of like a weird digitized face. You should Google CamTwist.
Don't you worry. I was on top of that. Like the second you said upsetting logo.
It's very upsetting. And ever since then, this has been a long time. This has been several months. My camera like intermittently works. Like 2 weeks ago when we started the show, my camera worked. But then today it didn't. And what'll happen is I'll open up Skype and it'll say, this is just like IT help hour, but open up Skype and it told me you can't use your camera because it's being used by someone else, or it might be being used in another application. And whenever I go into like the settings of like what are the different cameras, I'll be like, oh, your FaceTime camera or CamTwist is another camera you can use, but that's not a real camera. It doesn't do anything. I've uninstalled the program. I've totally gotten rid of it off my computer, but for whatever reason, like CamTwist is still like got its fingerprints on my machine. And it occurred to me right before we started recording, what if someone has been secretly recording me for months? And that is a horror that I cannot accept. And again, what would they be recording?
Yeah.
A dude staring at his computer. Like, nothing.
Yeah.
But just the idea that someone was secretly recording me for months makes me very uncomfortable. Now, I think your little green light has to be on.
Yes,
I don't know.
maybe.
There's some sort of thing where, like, oh, well, you know, it can't turn on the camera without turning on the light or something. But as we were talking about it in Two Grown Men Try to Figure Out the Internet corner, I heard a little bloop and was like, oh, hey, Zach, was it you? And he was like, no. And then it just happened again. And this has never happened before while we were recording that I was hearing like little bloops. So maybe it's the notification. Maybe it's someone recording me and they're trying to send me a signal. Please, God, don't. It's so upsetting.
Yeah. I have a number of questions. Okay, so I just went to, I'm assuming it's camtwiststudio.com.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so if you can't see this website, and obviously you can't, I'm going to try to explain it to you. This website looks like something you would see on the internet years ago. Like the logo Sam was talking about, it looks like a logo you would see from like Netscape. Just like a very, very old logo. And underneath that is this website that has like these very chrome, shiny white text. And there's like, there's this, everything feels so old about this website. It just feels like a website that was made for like a high school project. And at the very bottom of it, it says, read the site archives. And it only goes as early as the latest is April 2013. So, and like near that is like the old Facebook logo, the old Twitter logo, and like the old YouTube logo all next to each other. And it is just like deeply confusing. It looks like this is a website I would make either in a very, like in a movie, and I was trying to convey that this was like a website and I just had to put it together in an afternoon, or that this is like a website that a scammer would make to get you. It does not seem like an official business at all from what I can tell.
And you, as my friend, are telling me this because...
Oh, I'm just saying this to you.
Okay, it's a very upsetting thing that you're saying.
No. I mean, I'm just looking at it, and like you were saying, what is this? This is so odd.
It's bad. It's a bad thing that I can't get off my computer.
This is a cruddy website. Welcome to the all new camstudio.com, and there's 2 more blog posts, and that's it. Oh man. That's
okay,
really
now let's walk through this because it does seem, and I don't know how I managed to miss this when I downloaded this the first time.
But like the place you worked had this?
No. I was there, working with them, trying to figure it out, trying to set up some sort of like basically an OBS style software, just like a live streaming, and I didn't know the difference between this or that. Obviously I should have gone with OBS.
Yeah.
Wow. Don't remember how I came upon this decision, but made the decision like, oh well, I'll download this one. It seems, I don't know, fine. So I did. Not of course looking and realizing like, oh, there hasn't been an update since April 2013. Probably not a great one, is what I would say.
Yeah, that's what you say. That's like your catchphrase.
Yeah, it's probably not a great one. The last blog post is April 12, 2013, and seems to be explaining that the product doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's great. Honestly, that's kind of great for me because it means more likely the reason that it broke so bad is because Apple doesn't support its underlying software, and not that it's a virus that I put on my computer that's been secretly recording.
Man, this is really
deeply uncomfortable.
I love this for a number of reasons. It's like, you know how when you get on the this kind of goes back to our Fire Festival conversation. You know how when you're looking at your Instagram, like for the most part, everything kind of looks the same? Like as you're scrolling through, and if you go back far enough on your own feed or someone else's feed, you can kind of see it age in a way where it's like, oh yeah, I remember when everyone used that filter, or this was the only thing we could use, and people just like murdered their pictures with filters. It kind of has that feel, or like when you're looking at like a really famous person's Instagram, they all kind of have the same like aesthetic feel. And like when you look at websites today, like for example, I can tell within 0.0004 seconds that a website is made by Squarespace. You're just looking at it, who is not sponsoring us, but hey, Squarespace, if you want to sponsor us, I'm going to talk about you for a second. And everything looks very similar. This looks like something that I would have seen when I was in high school. And it is so, like, the second I saw it, I was like, oh man, I remember when every website looks like this. And it just feels like a nice little time capsule of what the internet used to look like. And it was normal to us. And so someday, you know, in 5-10 years, we're going to look back on all the Squarespace stuff and be like, oh man, remember when everyone's website looked like that? So weird. So I thank you so much for showing me this lovely, like, archaeological find in the internet.
Okay, well, here's where I'm at. So we have just stopped the show, but basically, so I'm on apples.com.
Apples.com.
I'm on apples.com because I'm good at the internet, and I went to apples.com. I'm on Apple's website, and there is a question where someone says, hey, I literally cannot get rid of this program. What the heck is wrong with it? And someone responded, yep, this is definitely a thing that happens. Here's the way to get rid of it. So it seems like it is not a virus. You know what I mean? It seems like, oh, wait. Oh, no. This is a thread that says, what is it called? Sorry, let me find this title. Sir Cam Twist. I hate the internet. Sir Cam Twist, / viruses, hoaxes, and spam. Oh, my.
This is good. This is good stuff.
I feel awful. This is...
Huh.
Hey, do you want to talk about this cartoon show where I just like, and I'll just stare into the deep dark void?
Yeah, while you were talking about that, I actually wasn't listening. I was trying to find out if there was an apples.com.
Oh, cool.
And to the best of my ability, I can't find one. It keeps, I mean, obviously it's going to be like, did you mean Apple, you dumb idiot? And I'm like, absolutely not. I meant apples.com.
Good.
Yeah, so nothing going on in the way of apples.com. But I don't think you can buy that. Maybe you can't. Probably you can't, right?
Probably you can't.
There's no way you can buy apples.com.
Talk about your dumb show. It's been 15 minutes and I've ruined my day. So you just go ahead and do whatever you want to do.
So the show is just really great. And it led into a different like, so the more I talk about this show, you kind of find people that also know about it. And a lot of shows get notoriety in my frame of like thought by people I know just by being a really well animated show. You see the same thing with Steven Universe or Regular Show or Adventure Time, just shows like that are just very well done. And eventually they'll get found out in the noise. And this led us to a conversation where Sam and I were talking earlier about what it's like or how it must be to find a show that you like in today. So with that being said, we live in a time period now where there's so much content, but the content isn't on a loop like it was when we had cable. You can choose between content, you can pick and choose what you want to watch. And because of that, you're almost not getting a defined palette of what you like and don't like, because you kind of have to, it's almost like shows take you hostage by, you've seen them so much. And so you're like, well, I've invested so much time in this, but have I invested a lot of time in this? And I was referencing the fact that I know so much about SpongeBob and Courage the Cowardly Dog and Hey Arnold, and especially, this is what I thought of earlier, I know so much about Dragon Ball Z, knowing in my heart that I never would have found Dragon Ball Z if it hadn't been for cable and reruns and all of the shows that we like just being on an endless loop, and how that has created some type of uniformity in the way that we grew up. And if that's going to be similar for children growing up now, because there isn't that same uniformity in the age of streaming.
And not even like culturally. I mean, yes, that's also true. But what made me think about this was, I was watching an episode of Hilda, and it really is beautiful. The art style is wonderful. The whole world is great, and we could talk about that. But we kind of talk about how to build a world every single episode.
Yeah. If you want to know how to build a world, Hilda is the best way to do it. Well, a way to do it. A very good way to do it.
It's very, very good. It does all the things we're always talking about. Everyone just accepts it as real. No one has to explain anything. There's obviously a story.
And Justice League is bad.
Yeah, Justice League is bad. It was they put one box in a giant palace. They put another box on an invisible island. And the humans just dug like a 1.5 foot hole. It doesn't make any sense. It's a bad movie. How did it get to the laboratory? It's a very bad movie.
But and one other thing I want to talk about with Justice League while we're here.
We literally cannot talk about Justice League.
One more thing. When Batman goes to interrogate, or he gets one of those monsters to scare, so like they feed off of fear, and he grabs a thug off the roof and then scares him. And I read an interesting article where they were like, wait. In this universe, Batman has been Batman for several years. And he said, make that person somebody. Make them somebody. Like, and if you don't tell us who they are, we'll figure it out. It's like a guy in a costume. We're like, make them a person. Like, don't make them just some random guy. Like, he is way past random guys. Like, make it Dr. like Freeze or Scarecrow or somebody. Just make him a person. And then they were like, but they made him just some random thug. They did a bad job at universe building.
It's a bad movie. So, I was watching Hilda, a good show. And there was like a point where I was like not paying attention. I was like working on a project and I was like kind of half paying attention. And I was like, oh, I really would have liked this episode more if I had like watched more. If I had like was really paying more attention. And then I had this thought of like, oh, I'll just watch it again later. I'll like enjoy it more because I'll like this is a show I would watch. And I thought about it. I was like, wait, how? Like, how am I gonna watch this again later? I know that I could just click it again, but it made me think about like the way that I got into shows. It's like what you said with Dragon Ball Z or just any show. It was not, and I think we've talked about this, the idea that TV used to be a place. Like TV was like each little channel was its own little town that had its own little culture and had its like, oh, well, these stars are on these shows. And it would just be on. Like, I'm watching Cartoon Network at 8 o'clock. And whatever they put on there, I'm going to watch it. Yeah. And like, that's how the show goes.
Yeah.
But,
and I thought that was an interesting point that you pulled up, because that is such I don't know if you meant to say this, but when you said each show was like its own little town, and it really was, it felt like its own little town, because sometimes within commercial breaks, you would see characters interact with each other. Like there was this whole thing on Cartoon Network for a number of years where they had Cartoon Network as a town. And like there was one where it was just different characters at a laundromat, where it was like Samurai Jack, and then in walked in Johnny Bravo, and then walked in Blossom from the Powerpuff Girls, and they were just all like living in a town together. And like as like it zooms out and you see IR Baboon just walking across the street, and it felt like it really did this idea of, it's like, yeah, they're all friends and they all work at studios, they're all on their own shows. And like as kids, we were like, oh yeah, they're all friends, they all know each other. And they did this for a number of years. Like there was even stuff on Boomerang where like different characters would interact in these very silly, and now that I'm thinking back on it, really creative ways that like they must have just done in animation just for fun, just to create this idea. And even unto that, on Nickelodeon, another powerhouse in cartoon, sometimes they would have episodes where the characters would have crossovers. Like Jimmy Neutron met Timmy Turner, and they would have this whole giant episode where they would meet each other. And then to us, it was like, yeah, of course, they know each other. They are on the same channel. They're in the same family. And like, that's something that is going to, because like, it's going to be lost in a way, because there's like not going to be these like crossover things, because they don't build like a town like they did, because TV's kind of falling by the wayside. You don't just have the TV on.
Right. And it's something where, there's not the same you're more active in choosing your media, which I think is better in general. I really don't think this is not like a, oh, well, back in my day kind of thing. Like, I do think this is better, but it's just an interesting difference in how to watch TV because, you know, things, oh God, this is so dumb. I sound like every dumb article on the internet about kids these days, but you know, like TV was on at a certain time, right? At 8 o'clock, this show was on, and then you would watch it. And I, you know, growing up, I remember always watching The Daily Show and then South Park, and like, that was what was on. And so, like, I watched a lot of South Park because I watched a lot of Daily Show, and then after Daily Show would be South Park, and that's what was on. I wasn't deciding what to watch. I was deciding what channel to watch.
Yeah.
But within that channel, I was not making a decision about what show to watch. And so I became aware of a lot of shows through just not changing the channel, right? Like I would be watching, you know, you wouldn't watch 8 episodes of Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
You would watch 2 episodes of Samurai Jack and then a new show. Or you would watch, you know, whatever was on. And this is not even just true of children's television. We were just children when this was what television was.
Yeah.
Like, this is true of anywhere. You know, you would watch Breaking Bad and then whatever was after Breaking Bad or whatever.
Yeah.
And again, I think the way we do television now is better, but it's interesting what I said, you know, and what you said about how we came across Hilda was like being aware of it, knowing it was a show, but choosing not to watch it and like sleeping on this great show just because we didn't know. Like, we had no idea. Like, oh, you know what? There's actually all these, and there's so many shows that I just click past because I'm like, yeah, today's not really the day for that show. But it's so different than, well, this is what's on. If you're watching TV between these hours, here's what's on. So you're going to get introduced to new shows that you would not have otherwise seen, and you might still click away from them. But if you want to, you know, if as often happens, you've lost the remote and you're just like, well, I guess we're watching, you know, this because, like, I don't know where the remote is. It's somewhere between a couch cushion. I guess we're watching this show now, and you get introduced to new shows. And I just thought it was interesting. I thought I'm curious how that experience is now growing up with cartoons, because I'm sure there are lots of people who just turn on like the Netflix Kids app and like that's how they experience it, and they don't have like a passive programming of like, we're gonna watch this show and then we're gonna watch this show and then we're gonna watch this one. And I just thought it was interesting. It was interesting.
Yeah. I was even like a thing that, like, even from a cultural standpoint, it's interesting to like have this idea that we're all watching different things, and in that way, it's gonna be, it's you can have a much more defined palette of the things that you like in the shows that you watch, but you're not wading through like the nonsense. So I do think it's interesting, like, because as what has been obvious from the way we're talking to them right now, media have been how I've always related to people, whether it's like da-da-da-da-da, and like there was always things you could reference or like be aware of that even if you didn't like it, you knew enough about it to have a conversation about it. Like, at no point did I like Courage the Cowardly Dog or Ed, Ed and Eddie. I thought they were way too bizarre, way too, like, the animation was just like intentionally grotesque and like nothing was like colored in a fine way. And
you mean very, very cool is what you're saying?
Yeah. And so, but
yes, they were both very cool.
Yeah, exactly. But see, like, I know enough about them to have like a conversation, and I can just like kind of roll with the punches of just knowing about them, just because it was a show that was on. And I think it's when you're talking about things like doing stuff with times, that was interesting because like that was how I got into The Simpsons. We found out that The Simpsons was on UPN 30, channel 30. It was 9 o'clock, 9:30, and then that was like, it had an hour of The Simpsons, and every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every weeknight, my dad and I would watch The Simpsons for an hour, and then we go to bed. That was like the day. The day was go to school, like do your homework, have dinner, watch The Simpsons, and then that was like the whole day, and it always was that. And but before that came on, Dragon Ball Z would come on, which is a show I never would have found on my own. And my brother would watch that with us. He didn't like The Simpsons, but he loved Dragon Ball Z. And that was like this really weird ritual we had based upon like some, guy programming what shows would go on what time. And it was just like a thing that for most of my childhood, it was like, yeah, and this is what we do. This is how we live our lives. And like, dude, like, I don't like this show that much, but whatever, I'm going to learn everything about it.
Yeah, I mean, and their whole like Saturday morning blocks or Friday night block or the idea of prime time,
Yeah.
There's no prime time in streaming. It's just and there's still promotion. There's still curation. They do have like, oh, this is what is going to be our big show, and the shows that they put for Netflix, at least, where it's like the big posters of it. There is some shepherding of taste, and of course they recommend things to you, but there's not that like homogeny of like,
it's true, because like
everyone, if you're watching TV at this time, you're watching this.
Yeah, the TV wasn't recommending anything to you. It was like, dude, I hope you like Recess, because the next 2 hours are Recess.
That's it. That's all we got is Recess. This one's Recess.
Yeah. I'm just kind of, I'm more interested to see like, just how in the future, because like, this is no longer our problem. Like we've moved past this.
Yeah.
You and me haven't, but we don't have to talk about like X, Y, and Z to have like friendships. However, like in growing up now, like how that's going to look with like, relating to other people.
Oh, great. Perfect. I'm going to hang up and then I'm going to call you back because everything is like, the connection's really poor. It's not because I'm being hacked. I don't know why it is.
Okay.
There's lots of data being sent and received, and I'm going to hang up on you and then.
Got it. Yeah, got it. Still recording by myself. Sam will have to listen to this. He won't know what's going on. He's gonna think this is part of the podcast. Gonna think this is part of the podcast. He's gonna be like, what section does this go in? I don't know if this is a break or not. I don't know if this is the break or not. And I wonder what he is saying on his end. Probably nothing, probably cussing, probably thinking to himself, why is my computer so slow?
Hello? Dude, this connection is trash. I can't, I'm getting nothing from you, man.
Well, I don't mean to brag, but I just searched my internet speed and it is, quote, fast, end quote.
Okay, well, I tried my internet speed test app, and it unexpectedly quit. So I think I might know where the problem is.
Cool. Are you are you like out in your car behind a Starbucks?
Nah, I'm in the exact same place that I always am. Let me just run an internet speed test. It is going at 92 megabytes per second, which is pretty fast.
Okay.
Wait, and that's download, and it's uploading at 88 megabytes per second, megabits, whatever. Who cares? Wait. Our final tally is 91.
Wow.
Did you Google internet speed test and press the little button?
Yes.
Give me them stats. Give me them stats.
Dude, I'll have to give you my stats, and I feel like I am about to eat my own words because I feel like my stats are not as high as your stats.
95 and 91 seem pretty good. The bar only goes to 100, so I feel like it's pretty good.
Oh no.
Oh no. Have we found the culprit?
Here we go. My download speed is 29.7. Okay. And my upload speed is...
It's great because you keep cutting out while you're saying what the uploads are, and I can't hear you at all. So this is very good for me.
Is not registering.
Now are you back?
The test cannot be completed. The test cannot be completed due to a problem with your network.
That's interesting because you said, and the upload is, and then you cut out for several seconds. So that's good for me.
Let me try something really quick.
Our show isn't good, Zach. I think we do a bad show. What's happening.
We have to do that really obnoxious thing that's just like,
stress.
Whose internet is worse?
Yeah, that's what we're doing is deciding.
Yeah, is the whose internet is worse test.
Mine is telling me though it's like, oh, you have a poor connection, you're audio only, and so. I'm dying is what I'm doing. This is how I die. Let's go to network and just see who's sending those bites. Those good bites. Who's sending them?
Yeah, who's got the most bites?
Who's sending those good bites? Google Chrome? Sending a lot, but I did have it open. Now I closed it. Skype handler? Skype helper? Sending some bytes and receiving some bytes. Not a lot sending. It is a lot receiving. Skype itself, not sending a lot of bytes. Although it is only in audio, so I guess that does make a difference.
Yeah.
I'm going to just check one more time to see if CamTwist Assistant has turned itself back on. Well, in a good development, the virus app that I definitely downloaded did not turn itself back on. So that's very good for me emotionally.
I never really thought there was going to be much of a problem. So
That's the title to my book.
My internet speed is 24.8 at download speed with an upload speed of 3.38.
I think we found the problem.
Well, hold on just a second. It says underneath that your internet speed is fast. Your internet connection should be able to handle multiple devices streaming HD videos at the same time. So I could just very easily be watching, some high quality content on my phone while we're talking. Multiple devices.
I get that. That would be download. That would be the download speed. Because it is coming from the internet down to you.
Yes.
Your upload is 3, and mine's 98. So I feel like probably not me on this one.
Yeah. But think about this though.
Okay, walk me through
multiple devices.
Streaming devices.
Multiple. That means more than one. It's like I could have a surge protector. Yeah. And I could plug in so many things and nothing would happen because of the surge protector.
Yeah.
The exact same thing with my internet speed. My internet game is so strong that I could have in a bunch of just data hogging HD quality content videos playing. Yeah. And my house would not catch on fire. So
well, that's yet to be seen. This would be a great time to remind everybody to just like and subscribe. Hit that bell, fam, and be sure to get those notifications. I appreciate it.
Hit the bell as well.
Hit the bell as well for our good tech podcast.
Good tech podcast. This is an extra long episode of Two Grown Men Try to Figure Out the Internet.
That's basically, you got the Patreon exclusive of Two Grown Men Try to Figure Out the Internet. This episode is the one where we do that one, and you also get a look into my life, which is Sam's Anxiety Hour, where I have irrational fears.
Sam's Anxiety Hour is actually really cool. I've actually been subscribed to Sam's Anxiety Hour for like several months. There's actually just a live stream called Sam's Anxiety Hour, and it's just me watching you.
It's a lot of me just going, and then what if everyone hates me and I die? And I just sort of sit and stare at the wall and sweat and do that.
Yeah. Let me ask you something, Sam.
Yeah, what's up?
Do you sometimes have you do conversations in your car? Like you say words out loud?
Let me put it this way. I'm never not doing that. To the point that I will be in a conversation in my head. I did this. I took a car trip to the store before we started the show.
Yeah.
And I thought, I wonder if my neighbors have ever noticed. Because what I do every day is I will be in a conversation in my head, and as soon as I get in the car and shut the door, it becomes an out loud conversation.
Yeah.
And I just do that and I just talk at regular volume the entire time I'm driving until I turn the car off, stop talking, continue thinking about it in my head, open my house door, walk in, shut the door, and immediately start talking again. It's not, it's mid-sentence.
Yeah.
So yes, I have done this thing before. It is constant.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I feel like it's a thing that this people do, but it happens when like I am listening to something and I have to like almost think through what has happened. So, for example, I was listening to a podcast, which we'll promote right here for no reason. Sure. It is called Conviction. It's on Gimlet. It's very good. And at one point, like these characters were talking about something, and I stopped the podcast just so I could talk through what I thought was going to happen next.
Sure.
I could have just listened to the rest of it, but I was like, no, I have got to have these thoughts out of my brain. And by the time I got home, I had to like put my earphones in and just walk in the house and like just like act like that didn't happen. Like I was listening to the podcast the whole time because I live with 3 other guys and a dog, so I can't be talking out loud about what I think is going to happen on this podcast to myself.
The dog would think you were insane.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, but she chews up our couch, so I feel like she is, you know, not on good fair standings with me, and she can think I'm insane. That's fine, but mostly she is attached to the owner of the dog.
Right. Yeah, I definitely do this. This is where we get the whole like 15th draft thing of like, oh, all my ideas are garbage at least until the 15th draft. I mean, some of them are garbage afterwards.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what put me in a bad headspace before the show. I did listen to all our old episodes from the burn pile.
Yes.
Before I started this episode, so that was not what I'd say is a good choice.
Yeah.
For assuming that I have good ideas that need to be said out loud. But yeah, no, I definitely do this all the time. I'm like constantly to a point where I will be like, I'm just trying to like work out what I think about something.
Yeah.
But like, I have no allegiance to what I'm saying at all. Like, so that's all. Like, I think all pancakes should be undercooked. And then as soon as I say that, I'm like, that's stupid. And I will, with the exact same conviction, go, I think all pancakes should be cooked thoroughly and undercooked, and just like driving down the interstate, because I'll say it and then go, that's stupid. That doesn't No, actually, I've thought about that thing I just said. It's stupid for 11 reasons. I think the opposite.
Okay,
now.
Everyone, I've come back. I have analyzed the data, and I'm going to backpedal on my previous statement. Yeah, but I think sometimes when you're having like a thought, when you say the 15th draft, part of the drafting process is the delivery. So you have to you have to say through everything to be like, what inflection am I going to put on each word? Am I going to say it in this way? Am I going to say it in this way?
Yeah.
And you just pray that you can get through your whole basically recited monologue in the way weird off chance that someone asks you about it, without them pushing back and asking a question, because that'll dismantle the entire, like, you know, snowball effect you got going through your perfectly practiced monologue you just did. So yeah, when you said 15 draft, I was like, I totally get that. I have to, a big part of it is me having to say it out loud so I know. And then even like saying it and then being like, oh, okay, let's run that back. Let's reverse it. Right, and let's say it again. Let's tighten it up. Okay, we can definitely omit that. And then say this thing again, and then put the inflection on a different word. And I'm in my car, you know, no one's going to judge me. But every once in a while, I like for a half second get this fear that I have a camera or a recorder in my car. And then I immediately stop talking. As if like, they're going to be like,
I don't
what was
have
he going to
that
say
fear
next?
Until right now. Thanks for that one. I do,
it's
when
really
I pull
fun.
up the stoplights,
Like,
for whatever reason, I will stop talking when I get to a stoplight, which I don't know why, but.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So that is, like if I'm ever in my car and I'm like having like a really like I'm thinking like I've just said the exact same sentence over and over for like 15 times.
Sure.
I'll be like, what if someone's recording me?
What if someone's recording me?
And then I just like stop talking immediately, as if like they're gonna be like, we almost had him, but then he remembered that we put a recorder in his car that we get out every night and listen to
for some reason. Yeah, I
For
have the thought
because
I have
this
the
guy,
thought
this
of-
guy's thoughts are so groundbreaking. We have to put him out there. It's just like Facebook doing more aggressive ad campaigns. They're like, man, we're gonna blow his mind when he finds out that
Right.
we are gonna recommend him this camping thing that he was talking about to himself.
Right, but it's like we're gonna recommend him this article about which of the Beatles songs is the best because that's what he was talking about for an hour and a half. I like
yeah.
his
This is me being
dissertation.
like,
Yeah.
this me screaming like, honey pie is underrated.
Right. He's got his dissertation about why George is actually better than Ringo, but not for the reasons you think. And then that's what the article you got. Yeah, sometimes I'll do that at a stoplight where I will stop talking because I'm like, oh, they're going to think I'm crazy. But then I remember number one, boy, do they not care.
Yeah.
And number two,
are they not looking at you?
Yeah, they can just, one, they don't care. Number two, they can just assume I have a Bluetooth headset in. Which is what makes it funnier about me starting to talk as I get into my car. Because if anyone saw me do that, they would know for a fact, he does not have a Bluetooth. I just saw him silently walk into his car and then be like, and Andrew Jackson. And it's like, what the heck was that about? Again, they don't care and aren't looking, but still,
Yeah. Because
often,
how often are you looking at other people on a stoplight and being like, what's going on over there? Is
right,
that
I'm
crazy?
looking at the stoplight or talking about Andrew Jackson. I'm not paying attention at all.
Yeah, but I was doing that a lot in my car. This is for nothing, but whatever.
Yep.
I went to my barber today, and I had what I can only describe as the most hilariously, cartoonishly long haircut of my entire life. It was probably an hour and 10 minutes long, and it got to the point where midway through, I was there, and he kept cutting over the exact same spots in the exact same way. And at one point I was like, I am on a game show. And that was the
Are
only
you on
way
Boiling Points? That's what I was going to ask.
I am on MTV. I am on MTV's Boiling Point. Yes. I think about that. If something truly crazy is happening to me, if that is happening, I'm going to say to myself, I'm on MTV's Boiling Point and I have to make it through the rest of this hour or whatever. And then I will get $100.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
so I was thinking through because the guy next to me got he got there way after me, and he was done with his haircut way before me. Yeah. And the entire time I was like, all right, I'm on Boiling Point, and eventually he is going to be like, you get $100.
Yeah.
I was in this haircut, and probably up until minute 48 of this haircut, he had not said a word to me.
Very cool barber. Good way to be.
Yeah. But so minute 48, no words. We are totally in sync with there's different things you have to do when you're at a barber. When you can feel him going to the back of your neck, you just instinctively put your head down because that's what you have to do. Right. And then you have to move your head around in the different ways in order to give him access to different parts of your head, because he could just spin the chair around, but he's not going to do that. And so we're totally in sync, not have to say a word. He's not have to be put your head down or do the whatever. We're totally there. And then at about 48 minutes in, he just goes, so what do you do?
All right. Get into it.
And I was just dude, I was like, oh, I do this, and then he was like, do you have to wake up early? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, you seem tired. And I was just like, yeah, dude.
And that was haircut. You need to get to it.
And that was it. And they just recently, and I hate this about that shop, they recently just increased the price of a haircut from $17 to $20, which seems just, yeah, exactly. Because here's the thing. The reason why it was $17 is because you would walk in with a $20 bill, and then you just he cut your hair. You'd say, thanks, man. You'd hand him a 20 and say, that's for you. Then walk out. That was the reason why it was $17, because no one's gonna be like, actually. And so that was just everyone did that. It was just that is a guaranteed way to get whatever 18% or 20 whatever percent tip. And then now I have to walk in there with $3 extra, and I'm just having $23, and I'm just this is not right. And it is just the the biggest gripe that I have, the most unnecessarily unfounded gripe, is just the fact that I have to walk in there with like a 20 and then more dollars, because I'm not going to not tip this guy that cut my hair for an hour and 10 minutes.
Right, but it's so weird. It's so weird when you're getting a haircut, because like I don't know how this has happened. Like every to a T. First of all, people like to talk to me a lot. But what I've noticed when I cut my hair, or when I get my hair cut, because I've cut my own hair forever, but I've started getting haircuts. And,
because you're married.
Because it is because I'm married. And she said, you should try this instead of buzzing your hair.
Yeah, like that seems insane.
Yeah, it was like I started doing a different haircut 3 months before the wedding, and then it was just like, okay, this is my hair now. It is always a thing where we get into like very deep conversations, very long conversations, and then at some point they do want to talk to me about Jesus, which is, I don't know how I'm pulling this. I'm certainly not bringing it up. And like it happens all the time where it's just like I bring up that I've been to a church and they're like very excited and want to talk to me about Jesus, and I'm like, I want to go back to the barber shop where no one talks to me. Not that I don't want to have that conversation, it's fine, but it is always just like, or like a very long conversation. I'm way more comfortable with like this, where it's like, let's talk about money. And I do like talking about money. Like that's a fun conversation of like, oh sure, whatever, we can talk about money. And so we'll like have a whole conversation about like personal finance for an hour. So I either get that, or I get like, let me tell you my confusing relationship with Jesus. And it's like, okay, I'm here for you, I guess. I'm here to listen to you. Like that's what it feels. It's weird, because at some point the relationship switches now you're the client and I'm performing the task, which is listening to you tell me about your relationship with Jesus. And that's fine. Like I'm down, I guess, but it's just, it is always this crazy thing where like, man, at barbershops they just, which again, I say that I go to barbershops. Like I don't understand how this happens, but there's always this thing where it's like, I want to talk to you about my relationship with Jesus. And it's like, okay, you can. Now we're having this conversation for an hour.
Yeah. The thing that I love about the shop that I go to is it feel like all of the barbers are clearly like it. You walk in to what has been an ongoing conversation, and they will talk the entire time. And you can jump in if you want, but for the most part, most people just sit in their chair and listen to what they're already talking about.
See, that's what I want.
Like you just walk in and then they're like, hey man, hey man, I got you over here. And then like, as you're sitting down, you're like, yeah. And I'm telling you, man, there's no way you can do a front flip on a monster truck, which is a real conversation that was happening when I walked in once. And a guy was like,
definitely can.
No, because like a guy just did a front flip on a monster truck. It was the first one ever done. Because you can do backflips, but a front flip is like super difficult, apparently. Got it. Everyone stopped cutting hair while this guy put a video of it up onto like the Apple TV. And then we all watched a monster truck do a front flip. And then he was like, all right. Like everyone was like cheering. Then he was like, all right, I was wrong. That was on me. I shouldn't have said they couldn't do a front flip. And then they just went back to talking about monster trucks. And then that was like 40 minutes. And then I left, assuming as I was walking out, they were still talking about monster trucks probably for the rest of the day.
That's the barbershop I want to go to. I want to go where nobody asks me any questions. Nobody asks me about my life. It's just like, hey, you can talk. And I guess I get that with the Jesus thing. So I guess I don't know what I'm complaining about, because really I don't mind. I just have to sit there. What I don't like is when now I have to contribute to the conversation, because it's like, man,
yeah,
I just want you to cut my hair. I just don't want you to do a bad job cutting my hair. And so could you just do that? But like that is what I would prefer, is where it's like, please don't acknowledge that I'm here. You don't need to know about my work.
If it were possible, I would take my hair off, give it to you, leave, and then come back with it cut and then put it back on my head. Like you have got to just because there's hair attached to my body doesn't mean you need to care about the rest of the body. I just need you to care about this one very specific part.
Right, because that's why I try to move it to like some neutral conversation about like money, because it's just like, you know, like this is not about me. This is just about money. This is about the idea of money, or like money. You know, it's not like a personal conversation. It's a thing. But it turns out the barbershop that I went to closed down, and right before I left, the last time I got my hair cut, they were like, "Hey, we closed down, but 2 of our barbers are opening their own shops. So we'd like to give you the info if you want it, so that you can go to one of these shops because you get your hair cut here. So like, you know, go get your hair cut at one of these places. It's the same people." I said, "Okay, cool, that sounds good." And the first one, I can't vouch for this place because I still haven't been, but it's called The Hideout, and it's a barbershop. It's called The Hideout. So okay, cool. That sounds great. And then this woman looked me dead in the eyes as if this was also a real solution and said, "Or you can try this other one." And I don't think I'm getting the name right. What the heck? Why are there noises? It's so bad.
I'm not hearing any noises, which once again leads into my theory that you can hear a ghost on my end.
I'm so deeply uncomfortable.
This house
Sorry.
is old.
No, it's like a beep. It's like a boop, boop, boop. It's like a noise. It does sound like to be fair, it does sound like a Microsoft noise.
Maybe it's like,
yeah.
you know, like a new ghost, you know, just trying to figure out stuff. Like it heard me talking about Netscape and I was like, "Whoa, Netscape. I remember that." And then it kind of like comes over and is just like, "We're talking about Netscape?"
I'm so deeply uncomfortable. Let me finish this dumb story and then I can tell you about my many unfounded anxieties. So this lady looks at me and she says, like, this is a real thing. And maybe this is a good barbershop. I have no idea. I'm not going to go because there's The Hideout or the Root Tootin' Root Scootin' like barbecue salon. And I was just like, I'm not going to that. I mean, I didn't tell her that, but I was like, for sure. I can go to The Hideout or the Root Tootin' Scootin' salon. See you there. Goodbye.
Where you are like, you know, your chair is attached to wheels and you're doing the boot scoot boogie.
Yeah, it's like, ma'am, I'm sure it's very nice. You seem very nice. I'm literally never stepping in there. Like, I'm not going to that. But like, I want to go to a place where they hand me a beer and they don't talk to me and then they cut my hair. Also, they give me beer at this barbershop.
They give you beer at the barbershop?
It's rad. They give you
What the
complimentary beer. It rules.
Okay, wait. So you're drinking it as you're getting your haircut?
Yes.
Dude,
while you're waiting for your haircut, and then if you like, they give you a beer, and if you can make a beer last from waiting and also the haircut, you're golden.
Dude, that's okay. So I'm still afraid because you see like old pictures of people getting their haircut, and they're like reading magazines and stuff. Like I keep my hands in my lap the whole time. I'm afraid to like even acknowledge that I'm there. Like next time, I'm just gonna like bring a book and see what happens.
No, they give you beer. That does sound like, whoa, that's probably why that place closed down. It's not why it closed down, but it is a thing, and I'm led to believe there are other barbershops in town that do this, where they will just say, "Hey man, want a beer?" And then they hand you a beer, and then you drink a beer while you get your haircut. Mm-hmm. It rules. It was a great barbershop. It's gone now, but it was a great
R.I.P.
haircut. R.I.P. So the other day, I was in my car, and I got in a car accident a couple of weeks ago. It was fine. But really, really goofed up the back end of my car, right? Just goofed it on a
real goof. Real goof.
A real mess-a-rooney on that back tail light. It has also been raining in Nashville for 8 months straight. It has just been unrelenting rain for 8 months, and it's unbearable and awful, and I hate it. And I what happened when I was driving is I was driving up to meet a client that's on the interstate, and straight away, no cars around me. I was very, very lucky. It was great. But going down the highway, going the speed limit, it's raining, and I just start spinning at 70 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh.
Just full around going spinning.
What?
And here's the thing. My initial reaction was just, you get that like adrenaline burst. And so it was just like, it's that whole fast and slow thing, right? Where you finally get like
fast and furious thing.
Yeah, this Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift thing. Well, like that feeling where you like get to appear inside the machine and you get to like experience your mind as fast as it's actually going. You know what I mean? I say finally because this is of course my life's goal is to finally see inside the machine and get to like process thoughts that quickly, but that's not how it works. But you know, your brain is going really fast in there, and then you just sort of get the like end product of a bunch of thoughts, and it just like pops up, right?
Yeah.
That's like thinking. But when you have all that adrenaline, you get all those thoughts at once, and you get them as they're happening, and you're processing them as they're happening. And then in retrospect, it's like feels like it's going fast and slow, right? Because it happens very fast because it in real life is happening quickly. But then
I cannot
also,
relate to a lot of this. I feel like you might be a super soldier.
What? No, this is the thing. And then also, in retrospect, your mind like compensates where you like had 3 minutes worth of thoughts in like 15 seconds. And so it's like, it felt like everything was really slowed down, but it wasn't. You're just remembering it like in slow motion. You know, slow motion where it's like more frames per second. So it goes slower.
Yeah.
That's what your brain's doing. It's like,
okay,
it's more thoughts per second. So in retrospect, it feels really slowed down, but it wasn't. You were just like
now
seeing inside the machine.
You had this happen to you when a stranger walked up to you and said a series of words, thus activating the sleeper agent inside of you.
No, this is a thing. Fast and slow is like totally a thing. It's like an adrenaline rush.
I have been in a number of crashes. You know me, and I have never experienced this.
You've never had something, you've never heard anyone describe a car accident as it felt like it was moving really fast, but also really slow.
No.
You've never heard that?
No, I have not.
Maybe these beeps are a super soldier thing, but I am telling you this is a real thing that happens to humans.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking it up right now, and I'm seeing that Thinking Fast and Slow is a book published in 2011. Nice.
No, that is completely unrelated. It is a business book.
So this teaches you how to slow down time.
It does not.
Oh.
Okay.
If I want to know more about this thing that happened in your life.
Yeah, super soldier aside, you understand the experience that I'm describing. Even if you can't empathize, you understand what I'm saying.
So I'm thinking fast and slow. Before I know it, I have smashed the window out with my fist. I'm now standing on top of the car. And I walk off of it.
No. So it's I'm spinning around and I'm having this thought while I'm spinning around. You are spinning out of control. This is all happening in like 6 seconds, but I'm having this thought of like, you are spinning out of control. And
yes.
Like, okay. You know what's happening. You haven't hit anybody. That's good. And I go around the first time and I'm like, all right, this might turn out okay. And I spin around the second time and I'm still good. Like I'm thinking like, you know what? If I just do this, I'm just gonna turn this bird around. Like I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna come to a halt. I'm gonna stop spinning at some point. And even if I'm facing the wrong direction, just hit that gas button. Turn around. Like you're on the highway.
Just hit the NOS and keep going.
Oh yeah, totally. Right around the end of that second old turn, though, I did slam right into the guardrail, which was not great for the old back of the car. And then I, of course, thought, well, poop. That's not great for me. What part of the story is confusing to you? I mean, other than the super soldier part that I guess was very confusing for some reason. What
laughing.
other part is
I'm still laughing
to
at you spinning in a circle and it's going like, I can just ride this out. Once I find that window, just like hit the gas again and just keep right on going. And the people behind me just like, that dude just spun 2 full times and it kept on going.
Okay, the plan is not to, while spinning, hit the gas pedal. The plan is to spin to a halt And then if I'm facing the right direction, I'm gonna hit the gas so that I can go forward and not get rear-ended.
Yeah.
If I'm facing the wrong direction, I'm gonna hit the gas.
You're gonna solve it with drifting.
I'm gonna solve it with drifting.
Just back up and hit the emergency brake and spin right around.
Look, I drift to win, and if you don't drift to win, I don't know what you drift for, but I drift to win. And so that does not happen because I do slam into the guardrail of the interstate. The car was fine. I was fine. It was not a big deal.
When did this happen?
I don't know. I mean, this podcast is going to come out in like 2025, so it doesn't even matter. I mean, in our real life,
Yeah.
today is the 13th, probably a month ago.
A month ago? A month ago?
It's probably 4 weeks ago, yeah.
Man, I missed this whole thing. Have you?
Wasn't a big deal. Wasn't anything to bring up.
I guess you're right.
Wow.
Did you go to a chiropractor and be like, "Hey,
No, it's fine.
All right.
I spun around again while spinning around. I think literally I might have thought the phrase, I'm gonna ride this out," because that was the plan. Was like as I was spinning, it was like, okay, I know what's happening. I hydroplaned on the road because it's wet, and now I'm spinning. That isn't necessarily bad. I know I'm not flipping. I know there weren't any cars around me. And I know I haven't hit anything because I can feel space and time. Like, I know what's happening. So, like, this might go all right. I'm just going to ride this out.
Yeah.
Anyway, all that to say, slammed into the guardrail, and which did slow me down significantly, which was great. But didn't even drag on it. Just, like, hit it and just sort of rebounded, and then it was like, nah, you're good.
Tight.
Yeah, no, well, what I did was I was facing the wrong direction, but I was securely in the emergency lane because that is where my car had smashed into.
Yeah.
Really guffed up the whole back. But it was just one. It was one of the back headlights. I mean, it's broke, but hit the back headlight. Car still worked, everything, and so I just like sort of drove the wrong way down the interstate in the emergency lane until I could get over into the grass. And then got over to the grass and, got out, checked the car. I felt kind of bad because somebody pulled over to like check if I was good. And the dude, comes out and he's just like, "Hey, are you right?" And I'm like, "You know what, man? I think I'm good. I'm a little amped up right now, but like, honestly, I think I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good." And he's like,
and then he was like,
and
he was like, "Why did it take you 45 minutes to explain that to me? Are you doing fast and slow time?"
No. He shook my hand, was like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, right? I'm good, right?" And he's like, "I mean, yeah, right? I don't know.
I don't know you."
He was like, "You should call the police to get like a police report," but like, yeah. And I was like, "Thanks, man. Super great." Because again, I'm just amped up on adrenaline. I'm just like, "Yep, awesome, cool, great, yeah." And whatever. And the cops came and then they're like, "Are you good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. It's fine. Car still drives." And she's like, "Okay, you didn't get hurt?" And I was like, "No, I didn't bang anything. I didn't know. I'm good." So then I drove up and like had the client meeting. And actually, because I left really early, I showed up on time. I was on time to the meeting so none of that is the point of my story.
Oh, and then you were just like, "No big deal."
I mean, I texted him and was like, "Hey, I spun out. I might be late." And he was like, "Take your time." And then it just worked out that I wasn't late. And so I just got there. But yeah, none of that being the point. Guffed up my whole back end, right?
Yeah.
And part of it like is the trunk. Like the trunk opens and closes, which is fine, but there's a gap. And as I said, it has been raining for 8 months.
Oh no.
So bad. So it doesn't seem like a lot of water is getting into the trunk. A little water is getting in there, and there's like tools and stuff in there, which is a bummer. And we're working on a solution. Whatever, man. I got a lot of stuff to deal with. So I just haven't fixed it yet. Because I know how to like fix my car, but I am like learning as I go, so I don't really know what is possible to fix and what's hard what's easy to fix and what's hard to fix. So I was like,
yeah.
Maybe I can learn how to do body work And then I Googled it, and in the first sentence it said, there's a series of spot welds. And I was like, well, I'm not going to learn welding, so never mind. I'm not, because I was like, I know how to fix a taillight for sure. I can definitely remove this taillight and put a new one in. Like, that's not a problem at all. And then my father-in-law was like, well, yeah, but if the metal's all bent, like probably the casing is bent, so you won't be able to put it back in. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's a good point. All right, well, I need to just fix the metal around it. Like, I'll just take the pieces out and put new ones in.
Bing, bang, bing, bang, bop.
Bing, bang, bop. I thought they were all fastened with screws. I thought it was all, because I know there are screws holding it in, but there's also spot welds. Where
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah, like a car is just a bunch of screws holding other things together. Yeah.
Dude, hey, you know what? Open your hood and see how much of that stuff is just bolted together. Like, it's just everything is just like, and then we put some bolts in and a housing, and it's good. But the body of the car is spot welded, and like I don't have the equipment or room to start learning how to weld stuff. So it was just not a thing I could do. So it hasn't gotten fixed. Whatever. All that to say.
Yeah. What was the intro to that? I feel like the story was way better than what you were trying to get to.
My terrible anxieties.
Yeah,
so,
but for the wrong thing. Like, all of that story would have been like, yeah, you were in a car crash where you spun 2 times into the guardrail. That's pretty traumatic. Like, what? No, shut up. That doesn't matter. What does matter, though, is my tools are getting wet.
No. It's way dumber than that. So, raining all the time, right? So I get into my car and I start noticing this smell. And I'm like, it smells in here. And my anxiety just starts going crazy. And I'm like, I bet. Here's what seems logical and reasonable to me. I bet water is getting into the trunk and getting onto the matting, and it is rotting and molding, and that smell is so strong it is coming from the trunk through the whole car, and I can smell it up here in the driver's seat. And I thought about this for like 3, 4, 5 days. Mm-hmm. Separately, while this is happening, I'm driving, and once I get up to like 70, 80 miles an hour, also I spun out because my tires were old, and so I got new tires.
Oh, well.
70, 80 miles an hour, my car would just kind of like tug to the side, and I'm like, oh no. I know for a fact that my frame is bent, and my car is going to just jerk to the side one day into a semi, and I'm going to get decapitated. That is 100% what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And every time I'm driving, I'm having this thought of like, I'm going to get decapitated by this car. Because it would veer off, and I'm like, no, this is definitely happening. Mm-hmm. So, of course, I Google it, and it's like, someone says word for word, like, yeah, when I get up to like 80 miles an hour, my car kind of jerks to the side. What's going on? It's not, it feels like a big gust of wind, and that's exactly what I was saying. They're like, oh, your alignment is off. Just go get a $55 like alignment fix. It's no big deal. And I was like, oh, I might be crazy.
Yeah.
And then I'm in my car, and I'm trying to clean stuff out, and I had a coffee mug, and apparently my wife had put a protein shake in a coffee mug, and I didn't know and forgot about it. And so it was just like milk. Like, there was just like milk in my car that was going bad. And so I'm over here like sweating every day, thinking like the frame of my car is in a knot and going to explode. And also my car is full of mold that is slowly poisoning me. And it's like, nope, just like super boring normal stuff. Like, you need to get alignment on your tires, and you need to not put milk in it.
Yeah.
So that's the nightmare life I live. That's every day. It's just thinking like, oh, there's a small, tiny problem. Probably my entire life is falling apart.
But like giant problems is like, yeah, well, this happens.
Yeah, but that's the thing is there's no adrenaline with there's a smell in my car.
Yeah,
like,
it's
there's
true.
A smell in my car does not release some sort of endorphin that's just like, hey, buck up, handle this. Like, you need to handle this right now. There's none of that when you're like in a car. It's just like, oh, I'm just like drive, like it smells bad. And then there's all this anxiety to be like, yeah, it's probably black mold and you're going to get cancer and die. But when you're spinning in a car, there's no time to be like, what do you think? It's probably a tornado. No, you're spinning in a car. Like, I know what's happening. I got it. I have sorted out what's going on. You are spinning. How do we not die right now? And then you handle the situation that way. But like all the little things, like my computer's saying like, oh, there's a program and it's also using your camera. It's like, yeah, I'm probably being videotaped secretly and live streamed for a year. That's probably what's actually happening, instead of like, I don't know, it's crappy software from 2013. Maybe it just sucks.
Yeah.
No, I'm almost definitely going to just stay up all night worrying about whether or not I'm being secretly recorded and live streamed.
Yeah.
So that's my broken brain and sort of where I'm at. Also, yeah, I was in a car wreck, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
It was fine. Here's the thing. My car runs and I'm fine. So, like, it's not a big deal. It wasn't a big deal because I'm fine.
Yeah. But the black mold, that is a big deal.
Black mold kills people.
The black mold does kill people.
Here's the thing. I know that eventually if a car is going to stop spinning, I don't know how to get rid of black mold. That's not going to just hit a guardrail and then the black mold's gone. The car is going to figure it out. The car is going to find a solution to spinning at 70 miles an hour. It's going to figure. And one of them might be, and then I die. And then it's not really my problem anymore.
Yeah, it's the car's problem.
The car
and
is
to a much less extent, your wife's problem.
You cut out so hard. I don't know what you said at all.
I imagine I cut out hard because I just said something and there was like a really long silence and I was like, well, there's no way I offended him.
No, you did not. I assume you were saying that to a much bigger extent it's a problem for my wife and family and friends.
That's exactly what I said. Well, I just said your wife, your family and friends, and whatever.
Well, it'll be fine. So I'm going to go panic about my computer for a couple hours.
Okay.
See you bye forever.
See you bye forever.